How many more in-jokes can we get in one video?
I think Tim's pleased with himself.
Yeah. It doesn't happen very often. Road for goal pace. Not running a tow pass near though. This feels like an absolute mountain. I'll have to go and manufacture my Strava file. Where are the brooms? We dropped them. I'm knackered, I need to stop for a walk. Got people behind us to rest up for. Oh. You're right, John, you need to wait with your friends. Goal pace is out the window. How did the brooms do?
Oh, terrible.
6 out of 10.
Is it 3-2?
It is 3-2.
Oh, Phil, did you beat me?
No.
My time on my watch was 18:38. That was my fastest time for a long, long time. Hello everybody, hope you're okay. Welcome to the Mid Cheshire 5K. Just about to head off to the start. Got my saw vest on, so looking the part. Got my Puma Fast-Rs on. So let's see what we can do. See if I get under 20 I can get. First race properly since June. Okay, it's probably useful before we start to show an outline of the course. We start here at the corner of Ball Lane and Mill Lane, and we go downhill for the first K past the finish area. Then we carry on downhill for a mile. So the first mile is all downhill. Take a left here up Craywood Common Road, which is a narrow little country lane. And then that's probably the steepest part of the course. And then we come back along Ball Lane here, which is just a gradual rise up all the way along here, all the way along here, take a bit of a left-hand curve there, and we hit the high point of the course there, and then from then on basically it's all the way downhill. So we come past the start finish area again, and you just got 1k downhill to go, all you've got left basically. Okay, and we're off. We had to stand back about 40 seconds from the actual start line. There's about 1,000 runners in this race. It's one of the biggest 5Ks I've ever done. But I stood next to John Broom and Phil York, my fellow sort of masters runners. I was trying to sort of beat both of them, and they were trying to beat me as well. So yeah, it was a good race as it turned out. And as explained in the course profile, it's basically all downhill for the first mile, and the first K is the same as the final K. So Matt, my coach, said, well, take this first mile quite hard, not absolutely gunning it, but make the most of the downhill, and then basically race it to 4k, and then just get down the last hill as best as you can. That's basically what I did. So I set off what I thought was a hard pace, but not too hard, and as it turned out, the actual pace of what I was going, being as it was downhill, was far quicker than it seemed. Now, it was actually, there's been so many runners, it was actually, you had to be a bit patient, and you can see here that it was actually little room. So if you saw my video last week of Egham Orbit, it was a bit different there, because obviously you were coming up against people, then you were running straight past them because you're going at different speed. Obviously in this race, everyone is pretty much the same standard. So you get a little gap here. So sometimes I found myself on the right gutter, sometimes I was in the left, sometimes I was in the middle. And there was a lady that fell over in front of me. So when I saw that, I think I was ever more cautious to make sure I didn't clip someone's heels and ruin my race and possibly theirs. Because on the tarmac surface, obviously, it's going to be quite uncomfortable. But coming into this race, it was my first proper race since mid-June. So basically about 2.5 months. I think there's that lady in the white with the blue stripe that basically just picked herself back up. So yeah, I was coming into this race sort of reasonably confident in my fitness, but still got a few niggles. My pelvis is still troubling me a bit. But I thought, well, I was up for this race, and I drove up the day before, stayed in Oswestry, which is about an hour away. That was the only Premier Inn that I could find. Fortunately, I had a physio, on Thursday, so I was in Milton Keynes. So I was almost sort of like halfway up the M1 as it was already, so it seemed a good idea. So yeah, after 2 minutes here, you think, oh, just sort of trying to settle in, found a bit of room there on the right, and it does sort of spread out quite nicely. I mean, I'm doing, as it turned out, about 5:42 pace here, and it didn't feel that quickly, I think, because he was going downhill. Jordan, I think, actually left straight away at the start, and I thought Phil York was ahead of me, but it turns out he was actually behind me, so I assumed that Phil was just pushing on, because he does tend to start quite quickly. But as it turned out, no, I had to just crack on with this. And it's a race, obviously, being in Cheshire, that's nowhere near where I normally am. There were a couple of people that I knew. Chloe Harmwood was running, a fellow YouTuber. Obviously, John and Phil. David Williams from Guildford was running. Terry Booth was meant to run, but I didn't think he was actually there. And other than that, all these sort of good club runners here, I didn't really know who they were. So in that sense, it was a case of just getting my head down and really just trying to work the best as I can, but really conscious really to hold something back, because I think I've learned recently that the 5k isn't all done and dusted within the first K. You really need to sort of like last the course and make the most of the whole distance, because it is basically part of 20 minutes running. And we'll see in a minute, we're going to come past the first K marker, which will be very close to where the start finish is, and you can see what's my time going to be here. I think we're just coming up on just outside 3:30 on there. So yeah, they'll go 3:31. So when I heard that, I was thinking, oh, that seems very, very quick. But I did realise it was downhill. So really just needs to sort of keep it going and push on. And you can see now there's plenty of room. Although it's not, but it was sort of race though that there was always someone in front of you. So in that sense, you had a lot of drafting. I think that makes a lot of a difference. Some of the races recently in Battersea Park have done the 5Ks. Although it's a very fast course, I felt like I've been running quite solo for a lot of it. And as you can see here, there's plenty of women to keep up with, as well as fellow vets. Amazingly, I didn't realise there'd be so many people actually. I thought it was about a 500 limit course, but no, they managed to squeeze 1,000 into this. And I thought with that many, they would even have more than one way. But I suppose with a course where you do part of it twice, they can't really do that, because you just have overlapping runners, don't they? So it works out quite well. I think sometimes it's nice to be all in one race, isn't it? And then obviously it's a bit tricky with the gun times. I think Claire Elm stood quite near the start because she was going for a British record. I think she was close to it. I think I have to check. I think she did about 18:15, so she wasn't too far ahead of me. So let's just push this on now to the first mile. Okay, so here we are coming up to the first mile, and I saw 5:42. I think it was 5:42.99 on my watch. So at that time I thought, well, actually I don't feel too bad here. And I think, well, they can make the most of this, because my aim really was to get under 20 minutes. And I was thinking, oh, all of a sudden maybe a sub 19 is possible here. So I thought, well, I knew that this bit was going to be tough, but equally I didn't feel like I was in too bad a shape. Obviously, I was blowing a bit now, and I was just wondering how steep this bit was going to be, because I hadn't actually done this bit. I think very, very shortly, if you look there on the right, the gradient starts to go up. We're already at 3%, which didn't actually feel too bad. I think partly because there's so many other runners around you, you could really just gauge your effort from them. And you can see here that I'm still running a pretty quick pace. 16 kilometers an hour is 6-minute miling basically. And I think very shortly you'll see the speed start to drop ever so slightly. But yeah, I think everyone's still going at a really good pace here. No one's really dropping off. And a race like this, as I said, everyone is really running at a very, very similar standard. So you really just had to sort of keep up with people. Maybe the odd person would pass you, maybe going past people. I think for the first half of the race, I was probably passing more people than I was overtaking me. I think I was a bit cautious on the start line. I was in the green way, but I was sort of like towards the middle back of it. So I didn't really want to get too bold with it, but knowing that really you just have to be patient sometimes in 5Ks. And you can see now with the gradient going up 4-5%, didn't actually feel that too bad, but I think shortly we'll take a left-hander there. There's 2K in 7:11, so I did a 3:31, then a 3:40. So yeah, a very slight slowing, but obviously that second K has a bit of an element of down and up again, so you expect that one to be slower. I think after the first mile, I just thought, oh, I just need to crack on now. And you get to the point in a 5K at 2.5K down this back straight on the back lane where you think, well, I've done half it now and I've just need to suffer again. And that memory in my head from Matt is, well, that last K is downhill. So however bad you feel at the top of the hill, you're always going to get down. You're always going to speed up a bit. So we're about to take the left turn now onto back lane. So this is like the parallel straight to Mill Lane going the other way. It was slightly into the wind here as well. So not only did you have the slight sort of drag up here, it also had a bit of a headwind to contend with. And on the warm-up, what I've been doing recently is doing a K at threshold. So I warmed up in the Vaporfly 4s, which I think is a very good training shoe, but I just feel like the Fast-R 3s from Puma are just so much like a faster shoe. They just get you up on your toes more, just a bit stiffer. The Vaporfly 4 is a very good light training shoe, but when I actually want to go fast, I think it's a night and day difference, unfortunately, with that. So it's a bit odd, isn't it? The Vaporfly really was the de facto definitive sort of super shoe back in 2019, and now you kind of feel it's been overtaken, really, which is interesting. I think Nike, people say Nike should up their game. I think there's an element there. They seem to be fixated on these max cushion, very heavy shoes. Anyway, going back to the race here, Les halfway in 9:05. So I didn't realise that at the time, but yeah, if you double that up, then I'm looking on to be my best time for a long, long time, haven't I? But I've still got this long drag to come. And you can see here, it's quite a narrow road, so it'd be great for training this one, but
you really wouldn't want to start the race down this road, would you? There's only really room for about 5 abreast at absolute maximum. And you see a few runners on the side there, perhaps sort of just had a bad day. There's a little house there on the right. I think that's about as far as I got on my warm-up. So now I was back into sort of vaguely familiar territory. One problem here, that there's an awful lot of sunlight into your face, so I really had to be almost fixated on just looking at the feet of the people in front of me, thinking that was the best way to keep that glare out of my eyes. I think a lot of the runners, when I spoke to them afterwards, said they really were put off like that. I didn't think it really actually affected my speed, but just really had to keep your wits about you. I'm not really much one for sunglasses, but maybe it would have been a day that would have been helpful. But you would think, well, basically about now 7:30 in the evening, with only about half an hour's daylight to go, there wouldn't be too much of a sun glare. It turned out to be a very nice day, in fact. So now we're coming on to the 3K point. I think the GPS was just very slightly ahead, but 10:59 was actually quicker than I did 11:06 in the track race, with the 3:48 there, 3rd So although I'm slowing, it's kind of a race that you don't need to worry too much. There's the actual marker point there, so it's about 30 meters ahead of where the marker point is. But the marker points are never necessarily absolutely right, so in that sense, you just sort of like a warm feeling that you've got the right place, and yeah, crack on. I think at this point is when it sort of starts to even out slightly. I think if you look on the right, it's almost now flat, and there's some people there. I think, well, that guy, maybe he's dropped out, running quite slowly. So yeah, another guy there. So some people, yeah, they don't always work out, but on a loop course, you've really got to get back to the start. So if you have an injury where you have to start walking, I think sometimes people just jog it back in. But yeah, no worries with that. I want to get to this finish here. I knew I'm on for a good time, and now it's sort of the real mental battle starts. So 2 miles there in 11:49, a 5:42, and then a 6:06. And if you listen carefully, you can hear my watch. It was a Forerunner 570 on today. It's got like a little speaker on it now, so it actually speaks out your splits, which is quite handy. So you don't need to look down at your watch now to reassure yourself. I keep it in miles, although it's a K course, because I'm more familiar with the miles. Obviously, I'm totally aware of kilometres as well, but I always find that if I'm do it in kilometres, I'm just too fixated on doing the mental mass. So if I see like a 6:06, I know that's sort of comfortably under 20-minute pace. But if I saw like a 3:59, I knew that I'd be going a bit slowly. So I think it's almost like a psychological battle to keep that sort of mental mass sort of only vaguely in head and being slightly surprised when you come to the final time at the end. I very rarely look at my watch for pace during the race, because I know that if I'm keeping up with the runners around me, then I'm doing absolutely fine. If I'm starting to be overtaken, well, there's not much I can do about it, then I've just blown. And if I'm going off so slowly, then I'm really overtaking people, then I rarely ever do that. I think however unfit or fit I am, I always sort of trying to set off at a reasonable speed, so I never have any worries about going off too slowly. It's usually complete the reverse. I seem to remember this is around the point of the course where I'm starting to think that I've almost had enough of this now. I want this race to finish, because I knew I went for a good time, but there's still a way to go yet, and there's a little drag coming up soon, which I think is a bit of a test when you go around a left bend shortly. Past was a bank of toilets, and I knew that was like the last final push. It's a kind of an odd course in a way, because it's almost like, I dare say, it's a bit of a cheat course, because you do 2Ks where you sort of finish somewhat lower than you start. But on the other hand, you think, well, if it was a 4K race, it would be absolutely, totally fine. You would start and finish in the same place. So I think on the law of averages, it's one of those ones that's within the rules. But also you kind of think if you do a good time here, you may struggle to do a good time somewhere else. But sometimes after a load of sort of indifferent races, then I'll just take what I can. I mean, remember early in the year, I didn't even break 20 minutes in the Battersea 5K. Then I improved to 19:06 in the next one. Then I got a bit of an injury, just had that park run, a bit of run out last Saturday, and then come into this one. And you can see here that the pace now has dropped outside sub 20 pace. So this is the bit I think where it sort of starts to really hurt. You know, you haven't got long to go, but you know your legs are starting to scream at you. And what's my heart rate doing? 147. So it's not too high. I mean, people might think I've got a very low heart rate, but I think it's just the old age now. I'm 58, just the way things are. And this is coming back past the car park. So now I think this is the final little push. I think, yeah, there's a 4K, 14:52. So 3:53 for the last one. So I'm getting it ever slower, but now I've got this big turn to come. There's the marker point. Still about 30 meters off from the GPS to the actual course markings. But yeah, so this is now the final push. And I think actually in this point, I'll probably get as many people overtaking me as I'm overtaking. I think perhaps I had a net loss down this one. But I think, well, in a way, you kind of think you don't really want to have too much left down the home straight, because you kind of think, well, perhaps I've left my race somewhere else. And you make your race on most of the course, not on the final K. Obviously, you can pick up about 5 or 10 seconds. But this guy in yellow, I think later on, he was almost talking to himself or talking to me to sort of like keep up. Or was it? So you can see now it's. Well, we get 750 meters to go. Matt said, I'll do a quarter of a mile, then push on to the next quarter of a mile. And now it's just sort of a mental battle, I think. In a way, you've sped up a bit. And what am I now doing? A 3:39 pace. So I'm way under a sub 20 pace now. And I was thinking, well, if I can keep this going, then I might see an 18. I wasn't quite sure at the time what the mental mass was. But really, it's just a case now of just sort of trying to avoid getting overtaken by too many runners. But yeah, still holding your own form and see if I can pick off a few. I think this guy in front of me in the black, he looks about my age. So I thought, well, maybe he's a guy that I can get past. I think, yeah, this is the yellow guy. I think he seems to then slow up for me. It's almost like he was running with me for some reason. Maybe he was just talking to himself. But then I think he sort of had a talk to me. He said, oh, come on. And then he sort of just shot off again. So yeah, I don't know what was going on there. Was this the guy that, yeah, I get up to him. And I think in a minute you'll suddenly see him speed off again. So yeah, these sort of things kind of help in a way just to sort of take your mind off it. And what have we got now to go? We're almost down to the last 400 meters now. So it's a lap of the track. But a lap of the track can feel like a long way, especially when your legs are gone. And I think there's a lady I'm getting past here. So I'm sort of holding my own here a bit, aren't I? I think, as I said, more people seem to be going away from me. But yeah, as I said, if you feel like you've given it all, then you shouldn't really have too much left. I obviously Matt in races, he actually finishes like a steam train. That really impressive. I think he would make a very good track runner. I think back in the day, if it was someone like I knew, I'd really be able to put the boot in. But sometimes it's just a case of, well, yeah, the race is almost done and you just have to go. And so here you go. The guy in the yellow top just seems to sort of scream off. I think he's got like the meta speeds, the Asics meta speeds on there. It looks like one of those versions, doesn't it? So yeah, now we're thinking, oh, it must be not far to go. And I didn't actually do this part of the course in the recce, so it's a bit more built up here. But you kind of think at this point you're not really admiring the sights, you're just trying to think where the line is. And we've got 200 meters to go, a 6:02 for the third mile, so we sped up a bit. Obviously there's probably a bit of a net hill to go. 200 meters to go, so that 200 meters to go sign is a bit ahead of the GPS. Obviously sometimes there's a bit of it'll be deliberately slightly long anyway because of the short course prevention factor. And now you're thinking, well, I'm probably not going to overtake many more people. Now, one guy comes steaming past me here in the big blue socks. Doesn't look like the best sort of running form, but he's obviously run well to give me a clean pair of heels. So I'm thinking, where's this line? Where's this line? Can't be far now. I think we'll come up to the actual GPS 5K point at 18:29. And then how much extra have we got to go? Must surely be able to see this finish line now. Can I avoid being overtaken by any more? There we go, 18:38, my best time for 2.5 years. I was 14th in the M50s, and I think it was about 600 or something overall. Quick look at some metrics post the race. So at the moment, Strava in the fitness and freshness graph, for what it's worth, is showing that I'm as fit now as I have been in the whole of the last year, which is encouraging. There's where I had the injury end of June, and you can see I've now basically got back to where I was in terms of actual volume and effort levels and that. And that's a very similar level to where I was this time last year, more or less, wasn't it? So that's encouraging. A few dips are on the way. So it's been a bit of an up and down year for sure. If we look at my performance predictions, then you can see now Strava's predicting 18:44, having done an 18:38. So yeah, it's kind of caught up. And interestingly, it's predicting a sub 40 10K. Don't know plans to do a 10K anytime soon, but maybe worth having a look. And marathon, not quite so encouraging, 3:21, but again, no marathon plans. And, well, a half marathon at least, it's predicting a sub 1:30. Oh, before the race, Strava was predicting about 19:14, so I definitely did beat that by a long way this time. Okay, so here's the view of the race again. My heart rate looks to be fairly stable, and it's always a good sign, I think, when you get a flatlined heart rate. That means you really are getting into a good rhythm quickly and just holding it. It was peaking at about 148. I think there was a few spikes that took it artificially above 150. Cadence 183, so that's a good cadence for me in a 5K. I think my cadence has come down ever so slightly of late. Maybe those Pumas help you to sort of bound along. And as I said there, you got the nice downhill start, then you had a sort of a largely uphill second mile, a bit up and down on the third mile, and then just cruising down for that last little bit. Here it is on Garmin. You had a 30 miles an hour sort of southwesterly wind, so that sort of shows that this first bit was slightly wind assisted as well as downhill, then a bit of a headwind going back. I didn't feel it too bad. Fortunately, all that drafting was quite helpful. And there's our stats. We had a average stride length of 147. That's quite high for me. Cadence 184, it's just on this one. Maybe a bit of rounding going on there. Vertical oscillation 9.4. Power from Garmin 403. Ground contact time balance is showing 51.7 to the left, 48.3 to the right. That's about normal for you, always slightly over to the left. Training impact there of 3.4. Because this is the 570, we don't get the full metrics that I had on the Venue X1. My Venue X1 decided to give up just before the start. I think it was low on battery or something. So yeah, I sort of quickly swapped over to this one. And you can see here, total ascent of 19 meters, but a total descent of 30. So a net downhill, but not by much. If we look at the race predictors on Garmin, you see before the race it was predicting 1904, and after the race it was predicting 1817. So at least this time it did actually recognise the fact that I did actually manage to run fast. It's interesting how you have one good race that really has a big step change, isn't it? Normally in the Garmins, it doesn't actually often register the fact you've run a fast time, so maybe they've slightly tweaked the algorithm. So at least now my Garmin is predicting a time in absolutely ideal conditions, although it would be hard to think that you could get a better ideal course than that one, but you never know. You can always eke out a few seconds, can't you? And the 10K is now predicting 38.53. So yeah, if I did that, it would be rather the thing. I think at the moment I'm just pleased to get under 40 if I ever did one. Half marathon is now predicting 1:27.12, very similar to Strava actually. And the marathon 3:12. I think that may be a bit optimistic, but I said no plans to do a marathon anytime soon. And if we go out to a year here, we definitely see that we're now definitely on the upward curve of the predictions. Although back in May, I was predicting 1804 when I only did 1906. So yeah, wasn't quite right then, was it?
Oh, Phil, did you beat me?
No, I was about, I got 1906 on
okay.
So I might have, I don't know what kind of buffer you had.
I was about 1830, 1835.
Yeah, you'd gone outside.
Matt said to sort of take the first mile quite hard because it's all downhill.
Yeah.
And then just suffer up the back.
You didn't suffer much, you were keeping quite nicely.
But it was quite nice because it was like so much drafting, wasn't there? So, and I was, the sun was into my face. I was really just concentrating on the feet in front of me to make sure I didn't trip up. There was one lady, when asked to rotate in front of me on the first lap.
Yeah. There were a few female runners. Yes, it was just female runners.
Yeah.
Who were obviously started in the wrong zone.
Yeah.
You had to really be quite. You were worth faster than that.
Well, I did a 5:42 first mile compared to my 5:33 in the bottom mile. Right. But yeah, gravity assisted, of course, and wind behind as well, isn't it? So
I got our first 3K at 3:32.
Yeah.
3K. I was thinking to myself. And no, 3:32. 3:37 and 3:41.
That's set my fit. So when I saw a 5:42, I thought, oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
I just need to get my head down now and get to the line somehow. Yeah.
But
well done anyway, Phil. So what are you doing tomorrow?
I'm going to do a park run. Yeah, I'm going to do. We're on video, aren't we? Yeah, I'm going to do Kirby tomorrow.
Oh, well done.
That's right.
I'm in Oswestry, but apparently it's Hinde Wood. I think I'll have my cooked breakfast tomorrow. I think I've done I've got a rest day scheduled. I think I might honour it. I might go for a little run off an old railway.
Why not? I think I'm just going to have my Weetabix and then head off to Wilmslow.
Yeah.
And maybe come back.
Well, I'll pay for the breakfast, so I won't as well.
No, my tactic there was to follow you.
Yeah.
And
I'm sworn to secrecy as well. So.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, no, well done. You go and do your thing. At least it's nice to be on.
Well, walk back this way now.
You haven't asked me about my shoes though, Tim.
Oh yeah, what shoes you got? On shoes.
Cloudboom.
You see.
Cloudboom Strike.
On obviously not doing the trick anymore.
They weren't very good in the car park though.
No.
Well, okay.
Indeed.
If I ran just under 19. That compares with my last two races in Battersea Park.
Well, you did 800 the other day, didn't you? Was it last night?
Last night, yeah.
Oh, God.
But that's no excuse.
No wonder.
That's no excuse.
Right. Well done, Phil.
Yeah, okay.
But she didn't get the record because they count gun times.
Oh, right.
So that's why
Yeah, we're going to do a run with the running broom.
So how did the brooms do?
Oh, terrible.
6 out of 10.
Is it 3-2?
It is 3-2.
Where were
It's
the next one?
It's 3-2 with a bonus goal, I think.
Oh,
there,
yeah.
You were good at that.
I was pleased, yeah. Well,
Stormer.
Matt said to me, work the first mile hard and then just hang on. And then like almost race it to 4K, then just float down the hill.
And you did.
Which is what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was dead on my legs. You don't want to be dead legs for 3.5K, but with that down a mile.
In the middle.
16-20.
16:20?
No, it's not.
I can't read it. It
What's it
says,
say?
What does it say?
it says
19:15.
it says your Moores Valley adjusted time is.
Yeah. That lady cut the bridge. She did 18
Are you
minutes.
jogging back this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What shoes are you wearing, Tim?
Oh, Puma Fast-R's.
And do you think you're going to try and pass through in another pair or slower?
Well, I had to beat you, so I had to deploy the fastest shoes I've got.
Yeah.
And no excuses.
No, I'm pleased. That's a good time.
What's your
for you.
excuse? 800 last night, wasn't it?
I ran an 800 last night, yeah, but that's no excuse.
What is your time?
2:32 for the 10th time this year.
That's when I did 2:00 something every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, on to go. I've had enough of this warm now.
But it's certainly a good course.
Fast, yeah.
I'd certainly wear sunglasses another time.
We do think it's a bit of a cheat course because you get the last K downhill twice. So like the first K and the last K.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
My fastest time for quite a long time.
That beats my 18:40 at Battersea, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
We've got bragging rights as well.
But how many years older than you am I?
Well, no, don't worry about that.
I mean, do you think my age grading will be better than yours?
Oh, sure it will be.
Yeah.
Did you beat me?
Just by like 2 meters. What did you run?
About 18:30ish. So.
18:30. I started 18:41 for me.
Okay. Yeah, that's my best for a long while. So yeah, don't complain. Hold on. Hold on. How did you do today?
Yeah, I think I got maybe a 1 second PB. So
Oh, right, okay.
we got
Have we done
14,
the timers?
43, 40, 42.
14?
So, yeah.
Oh, wow,
So
wow.
a lot of
Shoes you got? Vaporfly 2?
no Alpha ones.
Oh, Alpha ones, okay.
I'm trying to find something that'll replace these. I've never
Yeah.
found anything that's as good as them.
These
so.
are, I used to wear Vaporflies all the time and I've switched over to these.
Yeah.
Obviously I haven't done anything more than a 5K in the more 5 miler, but
Yeah. If I can find, I tried the Hocker Celio
Oh, okay.
V2s, which
yeah, I never really like Hockers, so
they have like
passed on those.
an indent on the side here, which
Oh,
sort
okay.
of makes it feel similar to these. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hoping if we can get a pair of those Pumas.
yeah,
then
they must have a few again soon, wasn't they? I was
Yeah,
lucky to get
hopefully,
the last
yeah.
one, really.
we're saving up for them. And
Yeah.
yeah, last I think the price of them. But
Oh,
yeah,
well done.
Yeah, well done, mate. Yeah, good to see you.
You're
I'm Dave.
Oh, right, Dave, how are you? Yeah, how'd you get on today? You beat me?
17:30.
Oh, you did?
Oh, modestly.
Not
okay, yeah. You look older than me as well. What age group are you in?
45.
45? Oh, I
45.
feel better now. I'm 58, yeah. You live far from here?
No,
Oh,
local.
Chester, really? Oh, yeah, it's just up the road, yeah.
Andy for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, somehow I've landed up in Oswald Street for the Premier Inn.
Oh, fair dues. No.
My friend Phil's up from
Yes, that's right.
London, and
It's
he's going back to Runcorn of all places.
I'm
Oh,
going
yeah.
to run
Yeah.
quite tonight.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to find a local fast food establishment. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've come from Bournemouth, so I've come even further.
Oh, wow.
And I think
Yeah.
both of us are going to do a higher age grading than you today, but we'll know
Yeah.
when it goes on power 10.
How'd you go today?
I did about 19 minutes. A bit slow for me, but I'm 63. And I'm 5 years older than Tim.
Yeah, as it keeps reminding me.
Oh, yeah.
But Tim, I don't
We
know-
go back a long way, yeah.
has Tim told you about his time today?
1838 self-time,
Wow.
but
And that's
yeah,
your
that's the best I've
fastest
done for a
for
long
how
time, yeah.
Fastest for how long?
At least 2 years, if not 3. I have to check the seconds, but
Brilliant.
yeah.
Actually,